Christine, and welcome to today's practice. We are going to do one pose, and it's a doozy, my friends. It's a doozy. We are here to do toe pose. Toe pose. So, this is a pose that is often done in Yin Yoga classes because Yin Yoga is all about stretching fascia. Fascia is this tissue everywhere in your body. In fact, the term fascia could basically mean all the tissues of the body, right? But let's get a little bit more specific. When we're talking about fascia, we're talking about the tissues that are kind of keeping all the other tissues connected. It looks a little bit like a spider web of white, stringy, stretchy material. It can wrap around specific muscles as well as muscle groupings. And it also can wrap around muscle to bone, right? And around ligaments and around tendons, or it can even be considered the ligaments and the tendons. But let's just talk about this fancy, fuzzy stuff. There are groupings of fascia. We call them anatomy trains. These are trains, okay? If you think of a train, it's like if you were to pull on one end of the train, right? All the cars, I'm thinking of the toy trains I have with my kid, right? So it's like you pull on one end of the train and the whole train comes along. You have the engine at the front and it drags all the other things along with it. Well, all of these groupings of muscles, these trains, can start at one part of the body and then end at another part of the body. And so we create muscle groupings that aren't just like legs. It's like, okay, well, hold on. It's a muscle in your leg and the lower leg, the upper leg, the lower back, the upper back, and then all the way up through your neck and da da da. All of a sudden, you've got this whole line of muscles that are all working together. So, what this means is that if you have tension in one muscle, there may actually be tension in the fascia anywhere along the train of the grouping that includes that muscle. You see what I'm saying here? So the thing is with the anatomy trains is that we have a lot, if not almost all, of these trains of groupings of muscles that are connected by fascia. They end and they start in the feet. Okay, it almost always ends and starts in the feet. So can you believe that today we are going to do a stretch for our feet, which can be kind of intense because it's probably reflecting to you tensions that you have not only in your feet, but everywhere else in your body, right? And can you believe that if we stretch out our feet, you might help alleviate that lingering neck pain or that shoulder thing you got going on? Or maybe it's going to help your hip because you stretched your feet, right? So the pose is intense. That's why it's the only one we're going to do today, but it's highly worth it, highly beneficial, right? So to show you what's toe pose, if you've never done this before, this will be fun. All right. This is where you also get to use your breath in the true to yin fashion. Let's breathe, right? So you're going to be kneeling, yes, but not like this. I want you to stand up on your knees for a second. Tuck your toes. All right. You're going to tuck your toes and then sit back down your heels. You're like, wait a minute, what? Right? So let's just stand on the knees for a second. You can tuck your toes and you can spread your toes out if you can. Just try to get every one of them on the floor. We all got funny toes, right? So that, you do your best. You do your best, right? And then you're going to do your best to sit down on your heels. Huh. Huh. Right? You're feeling something already. Breathe. Keep breathing. Keep breathing. Long breaths. Big exhales. And try to relax your feet. Try to relax, right? Because if we can stretch out these muscles on the bottoms of the feet that are on fire right now, we can potentially help the entire system of your body come into greater balance. Now, the thing is, it's intense for all of us, okay? There's like the odd person, like little unicorn person that I know that like, oh, toe pose doesn't do much for me. And I'm like, good for you. Good for you. The rest of us, we're dying right now, okay? We're dying. So I'm going to show you a couple ways that you can make some variations on this until it gets a little easier. I got some blocks in front of me. I'm actually going to lift my knees up on the blocks. Okay, a little bit easier. And then, of course, you're going to feel naturally that another way you can alleviate some of the tension is to lean forward a little bit. But you do want to feel a good solid stretch in there that's got your full, undivided attention. Let's do about 5 more long breaths with that. Right out of the mouth. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm right there. All right. Here's the fun part. You can get the blocks out from underneath you. Come forward onto your hands. Very slowly. Be nice, okay? Be nice to your feet. Untuck them. Oh, hello. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Okay. You can start with just a little jiggle. Just jiggle them out, jiggle your heels out back there. And here's the fun part. This is great when we got a whole room full of people doing it at once. We're going to create some thunder. I want you to tap the tops of your feet onto the floor. Ah, tappity, 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 tappity. There you go. All right. That should feel pretty good. It should feel pretty good. You can wiggle your toes a little bit. But you know what they say? Anything worth doing is worth doing again. So you know what? We're going to take a little pause, but we're going to do it again. Oh, we're going to do it again. So we're going to get into that again. And remember, with any type of yin yoga posture, any type of deep, long held stretch, the idea is that we are going into our edge. We're going into that spot where we are challenged by this. The body is at an edge. It's growing. It's expanding. Something's changing, right? That doesn't happen if you don't even feel anything, right? There tends to be sensation that comes along with that change. But you still got to be able to breathe, right? So no like breaking your feet. That won't happen, by the way. But definitely find that spot. If you need a few little assists there, putting something underneath your knees, leaning forward a little bit, that's totally fine. But please stay with it so that you can actually reap the benefits of it. All right, let's stand up on the knees, tuck the toes, spread them out. Good. Let's sit. Good. And if you are sitting upright, try to also like really sit upright, like shoulders over the hips, over the toes, and breathe. I remember reading an article once about yoga teachers, and the question was, what's your least favorite yoga pose? What's your least favorite yoga pose? And the article was going into the whole, often because the one that we find the most challenging to us, the one that we find, we dread having to go into when the teacher calls it out, it's because it's probably the one we need the most. Right? It's probably the one we need the most in our bodies. We probably struggle with it because it's exactly the type of position and shape that our body has a hard time getting into. Oh, I'm going to lean forward a bit. I want to stay with you though. Stay with you. Right? And I got to tell you, I got 2 poses that are a real deep challenge for me, and this is one of them. This was one of them. Whew. This is definitely one of them. I like to, we all have a story, right? I'm like, I have bunions. It might be because of that. I once had foot surgery. It might be because, no, everyone finds this pose intense. And there it is. Okay, 5 more breaths. Can you do it? You can do it. I know you can. Right, real long at the mouth. Good. Get those blocks out if you've still got them. Come forward onto your hands, slow and so very kind. You untuck the toes. Give the feet a little shake. And create a little rumble. That's the fun one. Good. And then, this is a little counter stretch for you today. You can just sit back on your heels if that's enough for you, if this is a place that you can be to stretch now the tops of your feet, or you might even be able to lean back onto your hands for a moment. Roll the shoulders back, lift the heart, and then some of us might even feel that you can now pick up your knees for a second and just stretch out the tops of your feet and the front of your ankles. Good. Wonderful. That was toe pose. I hope you enjoyed it. Anyway, I do hope that you reap all of the wonderful benefits of this stretch. And if it's especially challenging for you, do it again tomorrow. Try it on for size. See what happens if you practice it with a little bit more regularity. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to ring the bell and hit subscribe and join the inner circle over at christine-gannett.com. And that's where you can get a weekly email from me where I send out all kinds of interesting insights and mindset coaching pieces and wonderful things, including more videos just like this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.